great to be back in northwestern Tasmania and to be back with my good friend Sid Sidebottom, where you sit. And of course, I've introduced Dick and others earlier today. We've got local farmers here, and we have those who actually run Simplot itself. We've got the Agriculture Minister, who's worked his way down from the Hunter this morning, leaving at 4 a.m. Is that right? And our good Senator. And thank you very much for being here as well. She's a great pillar for the state of Tasmania. Now, we're here because we believe in jobs. And that's what causes us to bounce out of bed every morning. Because your job and your jobs actually mean something to us. Because you don't have a job, frankly, nothing else works. No job, no pay packet. No pay packet, can't pay the bills, and that's the end of that. So, here in Tasmania, this great company, Simplot, has been in one form or another around since 1940s, and that's a long period of time. But in this part of the world, when you look at those who are involved in the food processing parts of the business, Joel, I think, and Sid were telling me before, around about 500 or so. That's a lot of jobs in this local economy, and jobs are at a premium in Tasmania. Then you go to the farmers. And Simplot works with a group of about 130 local farmers. Sorry? Plus potato growers. Don't leave the potato growers out. There you go. And lots of potato growers as well. And these farmers are an integral part of the local economy. Together with Simplot and the food processing business and the farmers who provide them and those who supply the agricultural inputs to farmers. This is actually a huge slice of this regional economy. And I get that, Sid gets that, all of our local members understand that, and certainly Joel, the Agriculture Minister, does as well. Joel has been down here with Sid and talking to farmers and Simplot over the last couple of months about how we can make sure that this critical business continues into the future. Because what we're on about is building the industries of the future and the jobs of the future. And let me just say this. When we talk about the industries of the future, it's not just people with white coats roaming around a laboratory and looking at a piece of new biomedical research, though that is part of the future as well. I've been talking about that during this election campaign. It's also about what these guys do, because our food and agricultural business is also part of the future of feeding the vast populations, not just of, in our domestic markets, but in Asia. I said before, clean, green food labelling from products, agricultural products from Australia and Tasmania, Australia, carry a premium in regional markets right across Asia. I was talking to Joel about it before. We've got a mining boom, we're moving towards a dining boom. A dining boom in the food halls and the restaurants and the kitchens of Asia who are looking for clean, green, quality food. And there's no cleaner, greener place than the island state of Tasmania. So today I'd like to confirm that if the government is re-elected, I will provide $10 million to improve the productivity and competitiveness of vegetable producers who supply the Simplot food processing plants here in Tasmania's northwest. Simplot manufactures foods and well-known brands like Edgell, Birdseye, Legos, Ling Cuisine and Jod West. I can say I've eaten each one of those. I hope you can too.
Absolutely.
Okay. What about you, mate?
Most, yeah.
Well, I can say all.
Doesn't need very much.
Assistance will help growers lift on-farm productivity and sharpen their business planning. Talking to some of the farmers before about how much yield you can get for a given crop out of a given acre of land. I should say hectare of land, but I'm that old. And basically what they were saying to me is that depending on how you use the land and what attention to detail you have and how you plant and when you plant, they've seen examples of being able to increase crop yield by 20% on a given plot of land and to go higher as well. This builds on an $18 million co-investment announced last Friday to help Simplot with its $75 million upgrade of its facilities in Australia. As I said before, Simplot is a very big regional employer. So the money we're investing here is already in the budget and it comes from the Caring for Our Country funds. And I thank Joel for his work on this important project. More broadly, let me just say one or two things about where we are in this part of Australia. Sid Sidebottom stands here as having been a local member who's delivered, I think, $70 million worth of investment into this region alone, which has come from the Australian government. If I look at, for example, on top of that, the investment in schools, we've got about 12 new school libraries here, 26 new classrooms, 32 multi-purpose facilities, 9 new science and language centres. And then on top of that, we have, of course, the injection of about 4,000 or 5,000 new computers in the schools. So if your kids are in either local high schools using computers, they've probably been put there by us in order to make sure that every kid gets a decent go. And then it goes on in terms of our investment in the future under the Better Schools plan as well. $380 million in extra funding over the next 6 years for schools across Tasmania. So across these areas of investment, we have come so far with the good people of northwestern Tasmania and the Federal Division of Braddon, also in Lyons, where Dick is the very proud local member. We've got a whole lot more to do. And to do that, we want to be in partnership with industry. Industry like Simplot, industry like these good farmers work, industry like all those people who work in the food processing plants we can't see right now, but whose well-being and whose ability to pay the home mortgage depends on what we do here today. Joel, do you want to add to my remarks?
Just briefly, Prime Minister, I won't go over the key points of the announcement, but I would just like to pay tribute to both Simplot and the growers I met back here in July in Sid's company. I was very impressed by a number of things. One was their sincerity. Two was their commitment not just to their own businesses but to the region. Three was their commitment not for a handout, but for a hand up. The focus of this policy is not just to help them in the region, it's to help them in the long term by lifting productivity, both at Simplot and of course amongst the growers. The other thing that impressed me was the modest nature of their request. $10 million is a lot of money, but I often get asked for a lot more. And I never get the sort of detail or the detailed plan that I received from Simplot and the growers when I visited here in July. I was most impressed. I pay tribute to them for the strength of their submission and the quality of their submission and to their commitment to their local region and of course to all those who rely upon them for work. The key here again is productivity, and the technology here which will be used includes the NBN, for example. We're talking here about precision farming, using new technologies to lift the productivity of the growing business. Prime Minister talked about the dining boom in Asia. We expect food consumption around the world to increase by 70% by 2050. Australia wants to have a big slice of that. But to produce more food using the same limited number of water resources, land resources and people resources, we will need to produce a lot more food with those same resources. We need to lift productivity. That's what the technology side of this package is all about. And again, I pay tribute to the growers for being so keen to embrace that type of technology. So this is partly today, or very much today, about them as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Sid, did you want to add?
Yeah, just very briefly, I too want to congratulate Andrew and his team that are here today. The Simplot company itself has been working with you. Simplot food processing plant has a kickstart from the federal government. I'm optimistic about its future. I'm optimistic about the farmers being able to produce for that company, and also the other commitments that we've made to manufacturing here on the northwest coast. Processing and manufacturing are vital. This is the wealth creator of Tasmania here, Prime Minister. We've contributed $10 million towards Caterpillar, $15 million towards Simplot itself, now another $10 million towards this partnership with the farmers, $70 million including our 43 from the forest agreement for the northwest coast. So $70 million of investment in manufacturing and jobs and growth on the northwest coast. So we're very proud of that, and looking forward to working with the farmers, working with Simplot into the future to provide more jobs, more growth in what is a fantastic region of Australia. Andrew, you want to say a few words?
Say a few words, mate.
I'd just like to, on behalf of the growers and the group, that we're forced into this with an announcement. We'd been saying for many years that we're having a few issues, but at least it's obviously been heard that we have a few problems, and that's been addressed. And you know, this pledge is very, very much a welcome thing for all of us to hear. Thank you.
Mate. Well done. Good on you, mate. Good. So, folks, there you have it, and we're here because, and I'm here, Joel's here because we believe in Tasmania's future. and this is part of it, and we're proud to be co-investors. Now folks, you see that fog out there? That means we can't fly out of Devonport, which means we've got to jump in a car, get back to Launceston, and then fly out of there. So with those few remarks, let me conclude in the customary fashion, we really do have to zip.